The Little Mushroom Picker. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Pierre, who lived in a small village surrounded by mountains. Pierre was very poor and lived in a small hut with his mother. His mother worked hard every day to earn enough money to buy food and pay the bills, but despite all her efforts, their financial situation didn't improve. One day, Pierre was wandering in the forest when he met an old woman who was picking mushrooms. The old woman was kind and friendly, so Pierre decided to talk to her. "Hello," he said timidly. "What are you doing here?" "I am picking mushrooms," the old woman replied. "I'm going to sell them at the market to earn some money. Could you teach me how to pick mushrooms?" Pierre asked. "Of course," the old woman replied. "I'd be happy to help." So the old woman spent several hours with Pierre, teaching him how to recognize different types of mushrooms and how to pick them without damaging them. Pierre was very grateful for the lesson and decided to put his new knowledge into practice. The next day, Pierre woke up early and went into the forest to pick mushrooms. He walked for a long time, looking for the most fertile places, but he only found a few mushrooms. It was difficult, but he didn't give up. After several days of picking, Pierre had finally gathered enough mushrooms to sell them at the market. He got up early the next morning and went to the market with his mother. They were both very proud of their mushrooms and hoped to get a good price for them. However, when Pierre and his mother arrived at the market, they realized they had underestimated the competition. There were many sellers offering mushrooms, all more beautiful than the others. Despite all their efforts, they couldn't sell all their mushrooms, and they only went back home with very little money. Pierre was discouraged. He had worked so hard to gather these mushrooms, but they hadn't earned him anything. He felt sad and powerless. However, the old woman who had taught Pierre how to pick mushrooms was also there, at the market. She saw how disappointed Pierre was and decided to help him. She began talking to people, explaining how hard Pierre had worked to gather these mushrooms and how delicious they were. She told them that Pierre and his mother were very poor and needed help. People began to take an interest in Pierre's mushrooms. They bought everything he had, even if they were a bit more expensive than the others. Finally, Pierre and his mother went back home with a lot of money. Pierre then understood that poverty was not a fate, and that with a little hard work and help from others, he could improve his situation. He felt stronger and more confident, knowing he had succeeded in overcoming a difficult obstacle. Back home, Pierre and his mother prepared a delicious meal with the mushrooms they had sold. They both felt grateful to the old woman and the people who had helped them. With the money they had earned, they could finally repair their small hut and buy food for several weeks. Pierre began selling mushrooms regularly at the market, and their financial situation slowly but surely improved. Pierre understood that poverty was not a shame, but simply a difficult situation to overcome. He had learned not to be ashamed to ask for help when needed, and that there were always people willing to help those in need. Thus, Pierre and his mother continued their life, working hard every day, but knowing that their situation would gradually improve. They had learned never to give up, and always to look for solutions to improve their lives. And even if they encountered difficulties in the future, they knew they had the strength and determination necessary to overcome them.